Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. Very excited about going and playing the University of Louisiana Lafayette this weekend. They're a very good football team. Don't be fooled by their record. They are 1-3, just like we are, but they've lost to Ole Miss, who's in the top 10 in the nation, probably number 9. They've lost to Boise at Boise, and they lost to a very good Louisiana Tech team. So they are a 3-time defending conference champion, or at least a piece of the conference championship, and they're playing at home in front of a great crowd that they get great support from, and they're a very, very talented football team that's well coached, and we're going to have to go and play our best football to have a chance to be with them in the fourth quarter.
What have you learned from these the first 4 games that y'all can apply to this conference season to try to win the Sun Belt?
Well, we've learned that some of our strengths, obviously, and weaknesses that we have in all phases of the game, and we're trying to narrow down and work on our strengths and limit our weaknesses. So we've learned a lot about ourselves, and hopefully we can go play well. I mean, that's, we've got to get better in all phases: coaching, playing, everything. So, we're working on everything, and our kids are excited. They've had a really good couple days of practice and had a really good bye week, and we're trying to get healthy, and we're getting some guys back. We're missing some guys, but we're getting some guys back. So, that's kind of what we're learning.
Touch on that a little bit more. I know you all were pretty banged up coming out of Washington. Who are some guys that you do expect to be back for Louisiana?
Joel Ruiz, our tight end, will be back. Taylor Evans will be back. Trying to think if there was anybody else that was out. I know, we've lost Kyler Neal and Jonathan John Bart, and McKindy Cherador will be lost for a couple weeks, but he'll be back. So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, our health is probably pretty average, as like everybody else around the nation. I don't think we're really beat up, but we're not completely healthy, but we're not, beat up bad. Just it's pretty similar for everybody this time of year.
How has Evans looked on the line now that he's back
Good.
in full
He's
contact?
looked well. He's still dealing with some soreness, but he's back ahead of schedule, and he's a tough young man. I can't tell you how tough he really is. I mean, but the brace that he has does a great job, and he's practicing well. I think they're all practicing well.
Coach, what are your thoughts on getting back up to speed after having the bye week? Some things you were doing well execution-wise. Are you worried about, having to restart that kind of concentration?
No, I don't think we lost it during the bye week. We worked. If you know how we do our bye week, we lift every day. It's either a lift and run or practice. So Monday of the bye week, we lifted and ran. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we practiced. And we go at it pretty intense, and on Tuesday and Thursday we scrimmage to develop the young guys, or the guys that are on the travel squad but don't play a lot. So we give a developmental scrimmage, and then we go back and run and lift heavy on Friday, give them all Saturday, and then we work hard on Sunday, and then you got Monday we work hard, and then Tuesday. So we didn't give them a lot of time to get away from, obviously we didn't play a game, and there's nothing that's going to simulate game speed, but as far as the timing and everything, we worked on it.
Talk about I think Gerald House is back as well, and talk about him. And he's a guy that in fall camp we talked about was in tremendous shape, but obviously before the hand injury. Talk about him and what he could possibly contribute to the running back position.
Well, Gerald is he's back. He's playing more on special teams. We'll see about playing in the run game. We'll see how that goes. But right now he's most contributing mostly on special teams.
Is Louisiana Lafayette had a fairly prolific offense last year. This year the numbers aren't quite what they were. Is that just a function of the schedule, or the function of losing Robinson, or what do you see on film from them?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, they've had some injuries, and Robinson is a big-time receiver and big time playmaker. And anytime you take one of your top playmakers off the field, it's gonna affect you. And then obviously playing Boise at Boise, who plays good defense, and Ole Miss. If you look at Ole Miss's defense, holy moly! I mean, those guys. And so they've played some really good defenses, and they've had some injuries. This is a very good football team. Again, don't get caught up in the 1 and 3. That's the byproduct of playing that out of conference schedule that they play. They'll be contending for the conference championship, and they'll be a force to be reckoned with. So we've got we've got a long way to go to go and be able to compete against them and try to beat them at their place.
What were y'all able to do during the bye week to try to help the defense improve?
One, get guys healthy. Two, just continue to work. We've got a very young defense, and so the more you can work them, it's just like anything else. The younger you are, the more mistakes you make, and the more work you need. So it was just another week of being able to work on fundamentals, technique, scheme, everything that we needed to work on.
Coach, you've gotten some pretty good production out of your tight ends with Joel Ruiz coming back this week. What does that do for your offense?
Well, I mean, Joel adds a dimension that he's a big target that can run. So, it really helps with not being able to just defend, one guy or one side of the field. I mean, he can make them spread the field and give a threat in the middle.
Trey Payne is a guy that's emerged the last few games in a big way at middle linebacker. Talk about what him and Joe P. What do they allow you to do different when they're producing like they have been the last couple of games?
Well, Trey is a very physical linebacker. He's a big guy. He's probably going about 240, I think, and he's a big, strong kid that's young, and he has very good instincts. He reads things well, and he was coached well in high school, and he's a physical young man. So, the more that they can be in the middle and help on the run, the better. What we've got to do is make sure that we've got him in the right spots.
Coach, what do you see on film from the Cajuns ground game with Alonzo Harris and McGuire running the ball?
Big, strong, physical. I mean, they're big. He's a big back. They're big up front. They're big on the defensive line. They're big at linebacker. They're athletic. I mean, this is a big, strong, physical football team that we're going to go play, and I think they take great pride in that. You look at their inside guys on the defensive line. They're really big guys, well over 300 pounds, well over 300. Their linebackers are all that 238, 245 range and can run, and their offensive line is big. Then their back is big. Their quarterback's a big guy. So Robinson, the receiver's a big guy. And then the other guy on the other side, I think, is a 6'5" receiver. So, I mean, it's a big, strong, physical football team. And, you see it in their run game. They want to run the ball, and they'll come downhill at you. It's an attitude they have.
Last week you said that Will Lutz was going to continue to handle the punting duties. Is that still true?
Will start off as the punter, yes. He will start off as the punter.
And will Brian Williams continue to start at safety?
That's the plan.
Last week you said that the Sun Belt, was had a lot of parity. Anybody could win the conference. After another week, you got a bye week. I assume you got to watch some football.
Yes.
How do you evaluate after one more week of action?
About the same. I mean, anybody can beat anybody on any day. I mean, it's a very good conference from top to bottom. I watched Texas State's game, and they win in 3 overtimes on the road. I watched the Georgia Southern Appalachian State game. I watched on ESPN3, I think, or one of the channels, I got a little bit of the Monroe and Troy. I mean, Troy could very easily have won that game. I mean, you know what I mean? Anybody, you've got to bring your A game every Saturday, or you're not going to have a chance. Every Saturday.
Will Melvin start for Cherador at outside linebacker?
Yes.
What does he bring to the position?
He brings intensity. Melvin is a try hard, play hard guy. He's got good speed, straight ahead.
Coach, what is your assessment now, 4 games in, with turnovers and penalties from your unit?
Well, the penalties are getting better. The turnovers have to get better to have a chance to win. I mean, and that goes with any team. I mean, that goes with the New England Patriots. That goes with any football team. If you have penalties and you turn the ball over, that's a recipe for losing. Ask the Steelers, you know. I mean, so our penalties have gotten better. I think the last game, we have 4, 5. I mean, that's about average in the nation, I think. About 5 a game is usually about right. There's always going to be a holding call. There's always going to be an interference call, and there's probably going to be somebody's going to jump off sides or legal procedure. I mean, it's just that's the game when you're doing no huddle and, you know, you're going on quick, you know, and hard counts and that kind of stuff. So we've gotten better. It's not acceptable to have huge games of penalties, but, you know, our kids have gotten a lot better, and they're going to continue to get better. Anytime you're dealing, if you have children, you'll understand this. Anytime you're dealing with young people, they're going to make mistakes when they're young, and the more they do it, the more you get them to do things, the better they're going to get at it. So, and that's what you're seeing. Again, we only have Jarrell Robinson right now is the only senior starter on our defense. So we have 1 senior starter on defense, and we have 1, 2, 3 on offense. That's it. We have a lot of young players that are getting better as they go, and if you go from game 1 to game 4, the penalties are fewer as they go, and I'm looking forward to it being fewer as we keep going through the season. We're still finding out about ourselves, you know what I mean?
Didn't get the chance to talk to you last week at all. Talk about what was your mindset coming off the field at halftime with a 14-0 lead at Washington, and what was going through your mind?
What was going through my mind was can't turn the ball over, hang on to the ball, and continue to play good defense, and just make sure that we, you know, get our adjustments ready for what they're going to adjust to, you know, and then also, you know, being prepared that we were going to get their best shot and that they were going to wake up, and probably wasn't going to be Washington probably didn't have a very friendly locker room at halftime, you know what I mean? But all we had to worry about ourselves and go out and be ready for their best shot and hang on to the ball, and somehow it didn't work.
A lot of people would look at that score and say that's probably the best half of football they've played in a long time, but there's actually probably some points left out on the field too. Did you feel like you played as well as you could have in that first half?
Well, I mean, when you turn the ball over, I think we turned the ball over twice in the first half. That's the only thing. I mean, defense has played as good as they could play. I thought our defense played an excellent, probably the best half of defense that we played, I know, since I've been here. So, I mean, that was a really good, because that's a good football team. I mean, they took the number 16 team in the nation to the wire, you know, and they're a really good football team, well coached, and it was a great crowd. And, you know, our defense responded and played well. And then, you know, offensively, I thought our guys played well. Even 14 points at a Pac-12 school on the road, you know. I mean, I think they did a really good job. We just weren't able to maintain it. We lost momentum in a hurry.
Coach, going back to that game, it seemed like special teams turned the tide or got the momentum started for them in the second half. Was that a issue of just a talented guy making some plays, or are there some corrections that you saw in film you guys need to make?
There are some things we're going to do differently.